out to support our essential grocery workers. I am Kim Cordova, the president of UFCW Local 7, and I am so proud of our members that have stood together. They're standing up for their rights, they're standing up for each other, and most importantly, they're standing up for themselves. It's the bravest thing you could do, is to walk away from your job and demand better. And that's what these workers have done. King Soopers and their parent company Kroger has hurt these workers and turned its back on their workers when workers needed them the most. Essential workers throughout the state of Colorado have been through the worst 2 years imaginable, on the front line, making this company rich, while corporate executives had the luxury of doing their job at home by Zoom, right? And so while they're thriving, and they were able to share with their investors over $1.5 million worth of stock buybacks, they're thriving and they're living the American dream. Our members, they're not thriving. They're not living the American dream. They're struggling. Some of our members have experienced homelessness, had to go back and live with their parents or other family members, or suffer from food insecurity, working for a grocery store. This is shameful, the behavior that Kroger and King Soopers has displayed around and how they treated our essential workers. So I will tell you, the whole negotiation process, we have been bargaining for essential workers at King Soopers and City Market throughout the state of Colorado. And we've been in negotiations for months. And instead of dealing with local leadership from Colorado, we've been dealing with lawyers and representatives from California, Portland, and Cincinnati. Instead of leadership from Colorado that has to come back and face these workers, when those out-of-state folks that don't care about you, they get to leave, they never have to look back. We don't have the stakeholders at the table. We don't. You know what's been at the table? Company executives and lawyers for out-of-state, but also their competitors, Safeway and Albertsons. Where was their division president when workers were saying, we're doing the job of 2 to 3 to 4 people, and they're not listening to you? Where was their division president when workers are getting spit on and pushed and slapped, and when workers are asking customers to please put a mask on to protect me? Where were they? They turned their back on you when you needed them the most. This company has made record profits, and yet they're offering workers that work in Denver 13 cents over minimum wage. That doesn't better your life. Come on, King Soopers and Kroger, you got to do better. How do you work for a grocery store and you don't make the wage to buy fresh food? And the company has to set up food pantries in these stores for workers to share what little food they have. You know what? Our customers go into these stores and they spend millions of dollars a week in Colorado. And our workers here, citizens, Colorado workers here, are doing all of the heavy work. But you know where those profits are going? To Wall Street. Corporate executives and shareholders are making billions of dollars off of the back of the essential workers. And you're essential, but you're not disposable. You're not fungible. If you're an essential worker, this company should respect you, pay you, and protect you as an essential worker. I will tell you, just to lay some context and background about what's been going on with negotiations. Prior to us even sitting at the table, more than 2,400 workers have quit around these jobs for City Market and for King Soopers. Workers have been on strike for over the last year against King Soopers before we even walked out, because there's systemic issues with this company. This just isn't a Colorado issue with Kroger. Workers in Portland just went on strike right the week before Christmas because of Kroger's anti-worker behavior. We have contracts all over the country that are coming up, and workers are sharing the same stories because Kroger, this big giant national chain, they don't care about our communities. They don't care about its workers. They took hazard pay away just weeks into the pandemic and told workers we need to pivot back to normal. Normal? We haven't seen normal in 2 workers. But they get to work at home. They get to work behind a computer screen. They don't have to face irate customers because there's not enough workers to stock shelves. They don't have to face workers who are panic buying for toilet paper and all of the craziest that we're seeing in the stores. Some of our workers can't even use the employee bathroom because somebody's smoking meth in the bathroom stall next to you. But you know what? We've asked the company, even before what happened in Boulder with the mass shooting and we lost workers and customers there, we've asked the company to address our safety concerns. We asked them, and yet they didn't. 2018, 19, 20, we asked for trained armed security or off-duty police officers to come and protect our workers. And I will tell you what, if it's unsafe for our members to work in these stores, it's unsafe for the customers shop there. Right? And so we're not going to take it anymore. The Great Resignation is real. You've seen workers all over the country saying enough is enough, and they're rethinking their relationship with their employer. And COVID did a lot of things. It did a lot of bad things. But what it did do is it lifted the veil off of workers' eyes and said, you know what? I'm worth more. I need a union. Right? I absolutely want to have somebody on my side. And I'll tell you, with this contract fight, a line has been drawn in the sand. And I'll tell you, this union knows exactly what side of that sandbox we're standing on. Joe Kelly, the division president, why doesn't he show up to the bargaining table? I personally invited him to come in before negotiations, and he showed up for a whopping total of 9 minutes. He waved, shook some hands, kissed some babies, and he was out. And since that day, we haven't seen him. And you know what you guys have seen? Nothing but his back during this whole negotiation process. Do they not understand with 2,400 people quitting and workers voting almost unanimously to strike that there are systemic problems here? Now, if you run a business and where you have cash registers, you should know some math, right? And so when workers vote, yes, absolutely, when workers vote by up to 100% to strike, then the workers are mad. Workers are fired up and fed up. And we're tired, but you know what? We're not too tired to fight. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to be at the table and demand more for you. We sent a letter to King Soopers and said, we'll be at the table, but we need the information that you need, that we needed to cost out and evaluate proposals. And they finally sent some of the information to us after months of requesting this. And so we told them, we'll see you tomorrow. We want all the stakeholders at the table. We want our bargaining committee released to be at the table. We want local leadership there. They're invited. If we don't have people from Colorado here, we think that it's going to be unproductive to continue to talk to somebody who cares nothing about you or about Colorado values, right? They don't have to look at you ever again until the next contract negotiations. So we hope that the company comes to the table and they bargain in good faith and bargain a contract that reflects your value and how essential you are. And the company has to recognize that you're responsible for every penny of profit that this company makes. You know, I want to address something. You know, you hear people that don't understand labor unions and they say, oh, you know, these are lazy workers, and if you don't like your job, just quit. If we had lazy workers, would we be the #1 chain in the state and in the country? No! You do all that work. The CEO don't come out here and set those produce racks or cut that meat or shop those orders or check out the groceries. It is because of you. And you are absolutely essential. You've always been an essential worker, and we're going to continue to fight for you. And I'm so proud of you again for standing up and sticking together, and enough is enough, and let's do this. So I'm going to turn this over to my brother Dennis. The other thing I want to do before I do, and I know Dennis is going to introduce our guest, but again, I want to thank the community for standing up for us. We were there for you. We made sure that your families were fed during this global pandemic, and I'm asking the customers to continue to support us and to tell King Soopers that they need to shape up, or there's a lot more competition in this state, right? And they're going to lose customers. So let me turn this over to my brother Dennis, and let's get this party started.
Yeah, you want it? I think we're looking this way. Yeah. All right, I'm Dennis Doherty, Executive Director of the Colorado AFL-CIO. 130,000 union members across this state are here in spirit, and we have several different unions from across this state supporting King Soopers workers. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing some workers, some community members, some elected officials to show support today. And we're going to start off with Carol McMillian, who is a King Soopers worker. Carol, come on up. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for having me here today. This is a fantastic occasion, and my brothers and sisters, woo! Now, with that said, King Soopers, you say your motto, your credo, your mission is to feed the human spirit. Well, King Soopers, your people, I say people, not self-checkout stands, not robots, people. Your people have come to work, sick or well, happy or sad, through natural and unnatural disasters, through violence of every kind, not to mention almost 3 years of a pandemic. And then now, you, King Soopers, mislead and mistreat your people. King Soopers, these people are loyal, okay? They're people. They're Colorado people. We're family. We're not just some little widget that you can kick aside when you're done using it up and squeeze it like it's a piece of wipe, sanitizer wipe. Okay? Take care of your people. Be the hero in this situation, okay? Stand up to your motto, your credo, your mission. Feed the human spirit. Give these people what they're asking for. They're not asking for the sun or the moon and the stars, although they deserve that and more. All they're asking for, all we are asking for, is fair pay, affordable health care, and a safe workplace. Come on, King Soopers. Feed the human spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Next up is also a King Soopers worker. Come on up. Give him a big round of applause.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andreas Besserell. I am a front-end supervisor for King Soopers. I've been with the company almost 12 years. A lot of these guys, they know me. They know me. They knew me when I was a kid. They knew me when I had hair. I've been around. You know, I got a lot of friends here, and we're all out here together. It's family. We've been through a lot the past 2 years. We went through a lot together. We went through, we were peacekeepers. We were toilet paper distributors. We were the only thing you could go out and do at one point in your life. We were everything for this place. We were essential workers. We were essential for the entire community. And we still are. Thank you. This company made a lot of money hand over fist. They went up, 5 spots on the Fortune 500 list, 5 spots. If they gave us a little money, what's wrong with only going up 4 spots, It's not going to hurt anyone to, make that much money and take care of your workers. I've been a head clerk most of my career. One of the biggest things they always tell you to do is to make it right with the customer. You guys all know about making it right, right? How many times have you had to make it right for a customer? All the time. All right, whether it was rain checks or taking care of a return or making a problem that wasn't yours your problem and fixing it for them. And you made it right for every single customer, you guys, and I'm very proud of all of you. And now it's time that Joe Kelly makes it right for us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Before we bring up our next speaker, I just want to say a couple things on behalf of the Colorado AFL-CIO. Our fight is the workers for UFCW Local 7 and King Soopers fights. That's why workers from across this state have come here today in support. And there are 3 things that I hear the King Soopers workers want. First, a fair return on the essential work that they provide. Second, safety in the workplace, to go into work and not worry about your health and well-being and whether or not you're going to make it home that night. And the third is to be treated with some dignity and respect. And that is why we are here today. So if I can just hear everybody, I'm going to say no contract. I want to follow it up with no peace. No contract! No peace! No contract! No peace! On that note, we're going to bring up our state treasurer, Dave Young. Woo!
Hey everybody, it's great to see everybody out here. You are a marvelous looking crowd, let me tell you. I stand proudly in support of your effort to win a fair and equitable contract. It's not the first time I've done that. I don't know if many of you know, I was a teacher for 25 years in K-12. I taught in Greeley, and I was the union bargaining spokesperson, and I was the union president there. I know what it's like to face your employer and say, treat me with respect. It's one thing to talk, but you're doing. You're taking action, and action speaks a lot louder than words. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a model for workers across the state and the country, and keep up the good fight. Now let me tell you a couple of things though before I exit. I don't like hearing people talk about union leadership and drag them down. I've worked with Kim, and I know Kim is a solid and passionate leader. I stood with UFCW in Greeley when JBS Swift wouldn't stand up for their essential workers and protect them on the lines of the packing plant. And I've been standing up for unions here, not only the bakers and confectionery workers that were out on strike, but also the DIA workers, SEIU workers. There are a lot of people here that make a difference in this state, that are on the front lines and are looking to see your leadership. And so thank you, Kim, for the work you do and the solid leadership that UFCW Local 7 provides. You know, I am a King Soopers customer, and I am specifically a King Soopers customer because it is a union store. That is the reason. You know why? Because I know if you can sit down with your employees and show respect and iron out a contract, that you must respect the workers and the work that they do. I value the bargaining process, and I know there's some good work that gets done there. I wrote a letter to Joe Kelly in December and said, please sit down, please do the work you need to do to make sure we have a fair and equitable contract. I'm still waiting for a letter back from Joe. I think you all are waiting as well. And you know, they're hiding things from you at the bargaining table, but you know what isn't hidden? I'm a finance guy. I understand money. Their public statements are public. They are making profits. They need to recognize the fact that they're making those profits on the work that you do each and every day. It's not just some CEO sitting behind a desk. I go to King's because I know I am going to get great customer service from the people that work there, and I know I'm going to get that because they are respected by everybody in the organization. So, Joe Kelly and Kroger's, sit down at the table, iron out a contract, but you know what I'm not going to do? I am not going to cross that picket line. I have a well-worn King Soopers card in my wallet, but it's staying in there. Even in Greeley, I am not going in King's until this is a fair contract. So stand in there. Thank you for the work you do.
Thank you, Treasurer Young. Next up, we have Joyce Brooks from Coloradans for the Common Good. Please give a round.
Power to the workers! Power to the people! Yay! You know, Coloradans for the Common Good is proud to stand in solidarity with these essential workers. That's what you are, of King Super and for your union. Hallelujah. UFCW Local 7. You are a member of Coloradans for the Common Good. That's why we're glad to be here with you. These workers have risked their lives, as you've heard over and over, throughout this pandemic. And they did it to ensure that we, old people like me, could be fed. Thank you. Workers are living in poverty wages. This is a shame. Corporate profits, however, are coming in, and the executives' wages are skyrocketing. Look at this stat. Since 2010, the total sales for the Kroger Corporation increased by over $50 billion. Their CEO's annual pay was increased by $15 million. Let that sink in. The workers barely got any increase during this time and suffered. Fair wages and protections for these workers is the moral thing to do. And it's also good for Colorado, for all of us. Bring this money locally home. It helps all of us. So as an old lady here, probably the oldest in the house, I want to say to the people, don't shop at these stores. Shut them down until they settle this contract. Thank you, workers.
Thank you, Joyce. Next up, we have Denver School Board Vice President Tay Anderson. Woo!
I'm going to take this off. There we go. When I say, what do you want? You're going to say a fair contract. And then when I say, if you don't get it, you're going to say, shut it down. Got it? What do you want? When do you want it? What do you want? Oh, y'all got to be louder because King Supers can't hear you. What do you want? When do you want it? If you don't get it, if you don't get it, if you don't get it, one more time, if you don't get it, if you don't get it, if you don't get it, on behalf of a grandson of a 35-year union educator, and now the Vice President of the Denver School Board, I am proud to say the Denver Public Schools stands in solidarity with each and every one of you. The Denver School Board members will not be shopping at King Supers. We will not give our money to this place until they come to the table with a fair contract. You know, it was King Super workers that made sure when we were going through the biggest issue in modern history, not COVID, the biggest issue was the lack of toilet paper. You all kept our shelves stocked, even when we were fighting with each other in the store. When it was customers being rude to you, you showed up to work the next day and still put a smile on your face. When it was the customers that refused to wear a mask, it was you that showed up the next day to say, we're going to still do this all over again. When it's our students at Denver Public Schools that give you a little bit of a headache, when they give you a headache, you still show up every single day to work. So all we can do is say thank you. Thank you for continuing to show up. But today, King Soopers has fucked up. They need to give you a fair contract. They need to make sure that they bargain with you all and make sure that you're given a livable wage. No employee in the city and county of Denver, whether you work at a grocery store or in the classroom, should be facing homelessness. No employee in the city and county of Denver should have to worry about where their next meal is going to come from. So until they come to the table with a fair contract, you do not, and I'm saying this now to the press, nobody goes into these stores. Not a single store will get our business until a fair contract is placed on the table. What do y'all want? A fair? When do you want it? What do you want? When do you want it? If you don't get it, if you don't get it, if you don't get it, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tay. Next up, we have Colorado Working Families Party State Director Wendy Howell. Woo!
Thank you, Dennis. I'm here to just stand with these workers on behalf of our 25,000 plus members here in Colorado and our hundreds of thousands of members across this country. And I have one very simple message to the 1%, including Kroger's CEO, and that is you cannot call workers essential and then treat them as disposable. That is unacceptable. And what we are seeing in the community response to this strike shows that our community understands that. I gotta tell you, I was at 3 or 4 King Soopers yesterday, and those parking lots were emptier than I've ever seen. But you know where was busy? The 2 Safeways I went to. So the community has got these workers back, and it is showing up in all the right ways. Now, I want to drop a couple of statistics for you because there's a lot of conversation about who's being reasonable and who's unreasonable and all that. So in 2020 alone, Kroger CEO Rodney McMullen got a $6.4 million raise in 1 year. And by the way, that was only a 45% raise for him. So I'm just going to turn around and ask, are any of you all asking for a 45% raise? Didn't think so. Didn't think so. Meanwhile, the Economic Roundtable came out with a study of Kroger workers here in Colorado and in 2 other states. And they showed a couple of things. 25% of the workers in the study say they went hungry in the last year. 35% said they were worried about being evicted. And 14% said that they had experienced homelessness in the last year. That's 1 in 8. 1 in 8 Kroger workers in that study had experienced homelessness in the last year. And these 1%er CEOs have the audacity to go in the press and say that the workers are being unreasonable while they're taking home $6 million raises? I have a response to that, and I'm going to ask these workers and everybody here at the rally to join in with me, and like Tay did, I'm going to lead you all in a chant. And when I say, Kroger, Kroger, you can't hide, I want you to reply, we can see your greedy side. Kroger, Kroger, you can't hide.
We can see your greedy side.
Kroger, Kroger, you can't hide.
We can see your greedy side.
Kroger, Kroger, you can't hide.
We can see your greedy side.
All right, thank y'all.
All right, to close us out is UFCW Local 7 President and the fearless leader of these workers, Kim Cordova. Give her a hand. Woo!
I guess everybody else was facing the press, but I want to talk to you guys, all right? They think that they're going to bully us, right? This big corporate chain. They think that they're going to come into Colorado, and they don't care about our Coloradans here in this state, our communities, or our workers. Well, we're fired up and we're fed up, all right? Let's take our rally and let's march and let's show King Supers the power of the people, right? What time is it? What time is it? What time is it? All right, let's do this. Oh, one quick announcement. If anybody here